Hello, welcome back. Thank you, as always, for tuning in here. Let's have a conversation today about healing, about the subject of healing and why we need it, because we do. So you might find yourself asking, what is healing anyway? What needs to be healed? Because there are so many people out there talking about healing. There are people in all different kinds of professions in the world, and here in the spiritual marketplace, which, if we're honest, it is most definitely that, is it not? There's a lot of discussion of healing. Well, what is it? Well, this is a series of videos on A Course in Miracles, not other modalities, which you're free to practice and adopt or not as you see fit. And you may do so in conjunction with studying and practicing this course or not as you see fit. Why? This is a self-study curriculum. Should you choose to adopt this self-study curriculum as your primary or one and only spiritual practice, so be it. It certainly does the job. If you use it as an adjunct to other traditions, again, your choice. And that's quite common enough. So what is healing according to this course? Well, it's of the mind. This course works at the level of cause and not effect. It works at the level of mind and not what appears to be outside. The mind is the cause. This device, the physical body, is an effect. Healing belongs of the mind. Mind is the cause. The physical body is an effect. So we don't look for healing at the level of effects only. Which isn't to say don't take medicine. If you do and you want to keep taking it, do it. Do it, right? Remember, this is A Course in Miracles that we're talking about. What is important for us to understand here is that as we heal the mind, as we learn to see things as they really are, the physical body may or may not get over a chronic condition that you may have. If you have something very serious like cancer or another very serious illness, that may or may not improve with your practicing of forgiveness of the Son of God. There is no ironclad guarantee that chronic conditions will subside or go away or reverse themselves completely. They may, and they may not. Because we're operating at the level of mind, at the level of cause and not effect, whether the physical body improves or not is not the point. And it frequently does. But whether it does or does not is not the point. It's the mind that is in need of healing. Why? We think we're separate. We think we're separate from each other. We think we're separate from God, and we are not. And we need to heal the split and separated and deeply distressed mind. This is where the action lies in this course. You're here because on some level, whether you're consciously aware of it right now or not, whether you have just picked this material up or you're just checking it out, or whether you've been a lifelong student, you've heard the call of our inner teacher and you're answering it. So there's something about this material that is drawing you in. And I don't know what that is for you, but I kind of do. In fact, I really do. You want the peace of God. You may not come right out and say that, but we all want the peace of God. This is what has us interested in spirituality in the first place. And those who proclaim to be completely disinterested in spirituality, not spiritual, who think we're all crazy, let them please think what they may. They will eventually become very interested in spirituality because we all want the same thing, the peace of God. Deep down, you know that's true. You're watching this, which really says everything right there, doesn't it? Yeah, very important. Sickness is separation. And we see here in this next section of the text, chapter 11, section 2, which is called the invitation to healing, that the decision to heal and be healed is the first step. It really is. It's an all-important first step toward recognizing what we really want. In other words, the peace of God. We recognize that we need to be healed and we need to heal. We heal, and that's how we're healed. We'll say some more about that. As you're no doubt aware, that if you're just joining us, let me comment that forgiveness, true forgiveness of the Son of God, as it's taught and practiced in this course, which differs greatly from the way it's commonly misunderstood in the world, this practice is the foundational, practical centerpiece of this course, and it's how we learn. How we learn is by giving the love of God, by extending love, which we ourselves have received. We choose to allow this and we extend it, which you'll find in time happens quite naturally. What is known as the miracle in this, of course, in miracles, it is not a mystery at all. In fact, it's rather simple. We think of miracles as levitation or someone bending spoons or telekinesis, time travel, things like that. Those pass for miracles here in the world at large, but a miracle is in fact much more accessible than that, happily for all of us. It's much simpler than that. A miracle is a shift, any shift from dark to light, any, no matter how seemingly small or insignificant it may be. They're all the same. The text of A Course in Miracles starts off saying, there is no order of difficulty in miracles. That's literally sentence 1. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. They're all the same. Why? Because they're a shift from dark to light, from the ego to God, from illusion to truth, however you choose to characterize this in words. It's any shift in our perception. That is a miracle. True forgiveness is definitely a miracle. We extend it. And what happens when we give it completely is we keep it in our mind. The world doesn't teach us this either, does it? It teaches us when we give someone something, we no longer have that something. We're out that. Say we give somebody $20 or 20 euros or whatever your currency is. We no longer have that in the eyes of the world. Giving ideas, forgiveness, miracles, is how we keep them in our mind. And if you're thinking, okay, well, what if I give anxiety, pain, hatred, and blame? Well, but quite clearly the same thing applies. You keep that in your mind. The choice is yours right now in the present moment as to which you will give, love or hate. And those are the two options, and everything else is a derivative of those. You can extend love, or you can keep disseminating fear. It's quite simple, no mystery at all. We make all of the so-called mysteries ourselves. We make them up. We literally invent them out of nothing. Truth is disarmingly simple. Emphasis on disarm. It's so simple that it escapes our grasp. And it's our choice to run amok and complicate life. And we do, we all do it. We've done it, we've been doing it, and we're in the midst of doing it, or we would not appear to be here looking something like this. We wouldn't be here if we hadn't chosen to run off and hide and do our thing, do the world. I invite you to undo it, starting today. Having made it, we can unmake it. And in case you're just joining us, there is no world. How about that? We weren't taught that in high school biology. I can remember sitting through some high school biology lectures where we were dividing and dividing compound phenomena and these rather complicated, elaborate diagrams of the Krebs cycle and things that I only scarcely understood, and somehow as a teenager perceived the complete emptiness of. And yes, I found myself thinking, what am I really doing here? I don't get it. I have questions. And I didn't ask my biology teacher those questions. Instead, I asked our inner teacher those questions. These are great questions. If you're looking around, seeing some of the emptiness of this and thinking, what is all this for? Yeah, good question. Here's an answer that I hope you may find helpful. It's for your true forgiveness. It's for you to awaken. All of our experience that appears to be taking place on this spinning ball of rock we refer to as Earth, all of that, everything that appears to go on is, in fact, happening for our own benefit. We don't always see it that way, do we? But we could choose to. Anything that is not wholly joyous in your experience, and I mean anything that is not wholly joyous, is an opportunity for you to extend forgiveness, to extend love. Anything that is wholly joyous and gorgeous and limitless and beautiful, like an amazing sunset or a walk on the beach, something like that, those are symbolic. There is no world. Remember, those are going on in our own mind. Those are symbolic of our limitlessness as Christ, as the Son of God. Now, we're shown something here in this section of the text that's very, very powerful indeed. There is no separation of any kind. The Son of God is the thought of God. The extension of God and like extends like. So the Son of God has both a Father and the Son, because the Son of God is both Father and Son. Let that math permeate your mind. Like extends like. Not its opposite. There is no separation at all. And we do not have to persist in our stubborn tantrum, if we're being really honest, that there is a separation. If that's what we want to see, then our mind is powerful enough to show us that. What if we want the peace of God and nothing else? Because we do see what we want to see. If we want to see problems and frustration and pain, boom, our experience delivers. What if you want the peace of God and nothing else, to experience all that is? What will you then see? It's simple, and there's no mystery at all. Only God is. All else is illusion. There is no separation of any kind. You are the Son of God. You're the extension of God. God's the Father, the Creator. You're the extension of the Creator, the Son. Which creates just like God creates. What happens here when we appear to be human beings is we don't recognize it. This is why we need healing, because we don't understand who we are. We don't understand what we are. We don't understand where we are or why we are or any of those things. We just don't understand ourselves. That's why we need healing. And denial is as total as love. We can choose to deny who, what, and where we are. We can choose to deny God's fatherhood, authorship, creation, whatever you want to call it. We can choose to run off and believe that we're really limited, because this is limited, isn't it? We can believe that that's what we are, or not. And denial is as total as love. You can't separate off parts of yourself and accept other parts, because when you fragment it like that, nothing makes sense, and it's all completely meaningless, because the part that you deny seems separate and out there and cut off. No wonder confusion results. We either forgive totally or not at all. We can't reserve certain forms of hatred for ourselves, reserving our contempt and disdain for one person or a group of people, while loving on others and thinking they're great. We can't do that and expect to wake up. In other words, we can't do that and have the peace of God, which is total, or it's not at all. And I promise you, it's all there really is. We're invited to want that and nothing else. So all of this healing, awakening, whatever we want to call it, seems like this great big enigma, this thing that's inaccessible. Oh no, it's very accessible and you will access it. How do I know? The separation never took place. So each of us here in this thing we call time will appear to awaken. Doesn't have to be in this lifetime. You could deny this all you want. People do. People do, because we all have this voice, this little ego voice saying, yeah, go back to the way things were. This guy's full of it. This course, I don't know, man. I don't know about this Course in Miracles thing. What the actual is going on with this? There is no world? What? There is no death? The Son of God is free? Come on, man. Listening to that voice? Because we all have that voice. We've all given that voice the power that it appears to hold over us. And I emphasize appears to hold because it has no power at all. It is nothing. There has never been any separation, period, end of discussion. And you can choose to believe that and lean into it and practice this course or not. It's up to you. So we don't need to make a mystery where there is no mystery. There's no mystery. What mystery? You are as God created you. All right. And so whether you're just tuning in or whether you've been practicing this material for 30 years, something always comes up in these discussions that you in particular were meant to hear always. That's the way it turns out. When that something hits home for you, it is the Holy Spirit speaking to you. It is your inner teacher. And when you recognize this, you would do very well indeed to pay close attention, to listen, and to do as your inner teacher suggests. Because we do our forgiveness work, practice under our inner teacher's guidance. Now, you may have noticed that we're talking some very deep ideas. You deserve nothing less than that. So let's not beat around the bush, shall we? Excellent. Thank you for joining me. The subscription button is right here. This is the arrow in the corner of your screen. If you haven't joined us, we'd love to have you join us here on this channel. What goes on here are several broadcasts per week. We're going through the text of A Course in Miracles, and frequently we'll take a pause from our parade through this material paragraph by paragraph to talk about certain ideas or certain topics of interest on the spiritual path. And by the way, if you have some suggestions for those or something that you'd like to see me cover, please let me know in the comments here. I'm always happy to entertain those topics, because if you ask for something, it means there are many other people in the world that want to know the same thing. So there's great benefit to that. So subscribe if you haven't yet, and comments and questions are always welcome. Again, let's just cut right to the chase, right? That's what this course does. It just tells it like it is, which is what we claim to want out of people anyway, isn't it? For them to get to the point. There is no separation of any kind. Never has been. You and your creator, our creator, are one. One. All right. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you soon.